right, everybody, we are back for what I'm going to call an exciting 3-week period here on the Fresh Takes podcast with Russo and Felice. Of course, I'm Paul Russo, across from me as always, wearing what I can only describe to me as perhaps one of the most fantastic jerseys in all of sport. Man, myth, legend, Nick Felice. Nick, good to be back in the studio with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Paul, but I don't understand. Amani Toomer was an all right player.
I mean, I don't know many people who just own a Amari Toomer jersey.
I was going to wear an OCU Manora jersey, but it does not fit me anymore. It was a road white jersey. But
I thought there were home whites for the Giants.
This guy, what does he think we are? Basketball!
Yeah, I mean, the Redskins wear white at home.
What?
The Redskins wear white at home a lot.
That's the reason they lose.
I mean,
you tell
I think there's more than that, but you know.
Well, anyway,
I'm going to let it slide.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Started to pick on you, start the show, but we got a big show ahead of us.
We
so
do.
we have to get to it.
We have an additional voice in the show today for that reason. He will be back again with us for sure in a couple weeks. Actually, let's do this first.
Did we book him?
Hold on. Nick, let's do a quick rundown before we go further.
Yeah.
This week, we'll get to that in a second, what this week is. Next week will be our college football preview show.
Whoa.
We have another guest hopefully lined up correctly for that.
Is it the Donovan McNabb?
It is Donovan McNabb.
Wow, how'd we get him?
He's in the area.
He just happens to be in town, right?
Yeah. And then the week after, because NFL is starting that week, will be our NFL preview show. We'll have Pat Russo, my brother, who is also in with us today.
Hey.
As well as Matt Felice. Your brother will be back on. So
I think I closed in
Pat is here with us again today. Good to have you back on as always,
Howdy.
Pat.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm living the dream.
Now, if you haven't been able to tell already by our shirts, Pat with his Dolphins.
I think we found this out about last year this time. That I'm
Nick with
fan,
with his jersey and me with my hat. We are obviously discussing football today, and that would be right. We're doing our fantasy football preview show.
No, we are not talking about fantasy, and then we're talking about football, then previews.
It just looked better
and then
way.
show.
It looked better to me that way.
What show?
It is
Which
all
show?
one thing.
It looked better to me that way. So
whatever. Goes with the flow.
So
Whatever floats your wagon,
yeah, we're
I guess.
doing our fantasy football preview show today. Fantasy, as we've discussed on here, who knows how many times. A big part of our fall, particularly obviously with football, but we obviously go over everywhere else. But our mainstay, the main breadwinner for Nick as a commissioner is definitely the fantasy football league.
Got the best commissioner in the Finger Lakes and possibly the entire state over here, the Jerry One League, baby.
Yeah. But
I'm just doing my job.
But fantasy's big, and we're going to discuss today the players in each position, give you some sleepers, some dark horses, some guys you should maybe not go along with, stay away from.
Now, we've been playing fantasy football for 10-plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
But
this will be our 9th year in our current
of our month since we've been doing money.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's our 9th year of our Jerry One is the name of our league. Do not ask why. Maybe it has to do with some of the people our name starts with the letter J, but none of them are Jerry.
Jury.
We don't have anyone that starts with an E.
No, but that's the name of the league. We used to be called Jerry, but that was bad. Then we went to Jerry One and changed the culture.
Yep.
And this is the 9th year of it. There's 10 of us. It's been 10 of us for the last 3 years now. I will quickly shout them out. We got Paul and Pat, who are in studio. My brother Matt, you know him.
Matty J.
Josh and Andrew, who have been on the show. Jeremy as well, who's been on the show.
Hey.
So that's 6 people. And then there's also this Fletcher Reese kid.
We got to get him on.
Jaron Johnson.
We got to get him on.
And Fletcher Reese, Jaron Johnson.
Come on, there's one more.
Justin Hillwell.
Hey, we don't.
And there's one more, isn't there?
You.
Oh, and me. And me, yeah.
You forgot
so
yourself.
Justin Hillwell, Jaron Johnson, Fletcher Reese, shout out along with Jeremy Frenenberg, Josh Langley, Matt Felice, Andrew Lucchesi,
First and last name.
and Paul and Pat Russo, just to get the qualifying name. Those are the shout outs of our league.
No.
That's who in our league. That doesn't matter.
Now,
That's
how
not the
many
point of the
titles
show.
are sitting in this room right now?
point of the show.
Needless to say, fantasy has played a very big part in our lives.
Yes, this is the 9th year. Paul, take it away.
Yeah, so without further ado then, I suppose. Sorry, I had to take care of something on my phone quick. We will jump on into what position do you guys want to do first? We'll go this way. What position do you guys want to go with first?
Get kickers out of the way.
All right,
no one cares
we'll
about
get kickers out of the way.
Just get them done and over with.
Wow, that's
Kickers don't matter.
Kickers are people too. Okay.
Start the show with kickers.
Kickers are people too.
Well, we'll get them out of the way. That way the excitement
Yeah, I mean,
leads
I
in.
feel kickers are probably one of the more self-explanatory positions, obviously.
You got Justin Tucker and everyone else.
To go with. I have Justin Tucker not as my number one, though, this year. For me, number one, it's a guy I had last year, is Will Lutz for the New Orleans Saints. I think a big thing that helps for him, obviously, is he kicks half his games in a dome. So, that's who I go with. That's my number one anyway. I think that's who I go with. Kickers, obviously, pretty much wait till the last pick for the most part, unless somebody
or 8th round.
unless somebody gets pretty antsy.
I think you should take kickers and defense late. We're not here to tell you how to draft. We're just here to give you tips on how to draft.
Yeah.
Trust me, we're not experts. We're just fans of the game.
We're definitely experts.
But kickers and defenses this year, I think you should take towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
There really isn't a difference between them all, and they really don't affect your scoring of the game, either if it's non-PPR or PPR. And if you're new to the game, non-PPR means no point per reception, which you would get a fantasy point per catch. PPR obviously means you get a point per catch, every catch. Those are the differences if you're not a fan of the game and you're trying to learn. But there's no difference in either one of them, but we're talking kickers. My kicker, I think if you want the best kicker to go with Justin Tucker. He's solid.
I mean, I got him ranked at number 2 for me.
But if you don't want to go move a couple rounds, get Tucker, because people might take him in that 13th, 14th round. A solid guy I always like to go with, Matt Prater. And here's why. Or a guy like Matt Prater. Go for a team that has a good quarterback, but doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. You want those teams that struggle in the red zone. And those are the teams that have kickers that can make those chip shot 30-yard field goals, and you could stack up points. Another good one, obviously Joe Flacco is another. His team is like that. You could see Lamar Jackson of the Ravens really struggling in the red zone. So Joe Flacco is by far, I think, the best.
Joe Flacco.
Well, he's
the
on
best.
Denver now.
Joe Flacco. What's his name? Justin Tucker is who I'm talking about.
Joe
If I just said
Flacco
Joe
on the
Flacco, I
Where's your
mean
head at?
Justin Tucker. Wow, I've never done that. Justin Tucker is who I'm talking about. He is the best. But here's my sleeper.
A sleeper kicker.
Fairbairn.
Amy.
I wouldn't say he's a. I mean,
Kinda.
everyone has
He
their
kind of
opinion.
is.
Fairbairn. His team is going to score a lot of touchdowns. But there'll be those drives where they get stuck on the 40-yard line. He could get 50-yard field goal. Justin Tucker, this guy. Better show that to the screen. But
No, I already got rid of it.
Alrighty.
well, Kaimi Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, is my sleeper. Over to Pat about his kickers.
All right. So actually, real quick. So remember when Josh was visiting? Remember or not while Josh was visiting when he first got home? Remember how we were watching the Jets game? You were texting him about it. Catanzaro would miss like 2 extra points in a field goal or something. We had said he was going to be cut before he got back to the locker room. He retired after that game.
Yes.
He retired after that game. In case you didn't know.
So do not take him.
No.
Hey, he carried my fantasy team a couple years ago.
He's terrible.
Kickers don't carry your team. All right. You want to know who I really like as a kicker? He's an old dude. He's old reliable, though. Phil Dawson of the Arizona Cardinals.
Phil Dawson. Wow.
That offense is going to stall. They're going to move downfield quickly and just stall. Kyler Murray's a rookie. I know they got David Johnson, but they're going to stall out Phil Dawson. It's going to go one of two ways. He's either getting like 4 or 5 extra points a game, or he's getting a couple field goals a game. That's solid. Another guy I like, if he's still with San Fran, someone might need to fact check me on this, Robbie Gould.
He is. He's actually my 10th ranked.
I like Robbie Gould too.
The thing with Phil Dawson,
I've had Robbie Gould the past couple years up until their bye week. He is solid. He doesn't really miss his field goals unless they're like 60+ yards.
the thing with Phil Dawson, most leagues just need one kicker.
Right.
You can get Phil Dawson anytime.
Right. I like Phil Dawson this year. I like him, Robbie Gould.
Yes.
Mason Crosby, I feel, is a little overrated. I don't think he's going to be that good of a guy.
No, don't go with Mason Crosby.
Just going to leave that one alone. So yeah, there's
Just see this showing.
there's my kickers. Phil Dawson, Robbie Gould, they're up on my list. Obviously, Justin Tucker, Fairbairn.
No Joe Flacco at kicker.
Don't take Joe Flacco at kicker. You're never going to get a point from him that way. You might not get a point from him at all this year, period. But we'll see. Hey, dude, I don't make the rules. I was following them.
Shot at Joe Flacco.
So to kind of, I guess, stay the course with that, I went through and ranked top 10 for myself for each position coming into the show.
I should have done that.
So I said Will Lutz was my number 1. Justin Tucker's my number 2. Number 3, I got Greg Zuerlein. Show a little bit. ESPN has Zuerlein ranked number 1. I had him last year for a while.
He's good.
He has some chinks in his armor. He was hurt last year for a little bit, and he missed field goals that he usually makes. So
He's good.
I dropped him a little bit.
Got hurt there.
I have Fairbairn at number 4 for me, and I have Harrison Butker for Kansas City at 5. My dark horses that I think, hey, at least maybe going into like the bye weeks anyway. I'm going to mispronounce this guy's name. Giorgio Tavecchio for Atlanta.
Giorgio Tavecchio? I thought he's a Dolphin right now.
He's on Atlanta, I thought.
Well, they must have recently.
This is awkward, if that's the case. Either way.
I thought he was on the Raiders.
Yeah. If he's in Atlanta, then, obviously he's got half his games in the dome as well. But the Atlanta offense, produces there in the red zone.
He is on Atlanta. I'm pretty sure he was kicking with Miami when they actually played against Atlanta when they played week 1 of the preseason.
How about that?
So there's a fun fact.
So the Falcons, Falcons kidnapped him, is what you're saying.
For a fun fact.
I mean, they could have just cut him. I actually don't think he kicked good that game. That's
and then another
sleeper.
Oh, sorry. Another sleeper I think to keep an eye on is, again, I'm probably pronouncing this guy's name wrong. Is
don't worry about it.
Kari Vidvik for Minnesota. They traded for him. They have him kicking, punting, and returning kicks. It's sort of weird.
Well, he'll be
Taysom Hill
he'll be injured by week 3.
And then a couple guys I think to stay away from. For me, because I witness it yearly, Dustin Hopkins misses field goals that he should make on a regular basis.
Redskins kicker?
Yeah, Redskins. And then another team, the Bears, nobody knows who their kicker is. So stay away from whoever the hell they get.
I wouldn't say
Do we stay away from Adam Vinatieri?
That's a good question. I feel bad for saying this because ESPN...
That last playoff game was
I just thought of a guy that we totally forgot to talk about for kickers.
Yes.
Steven Gostowski.
I have him ranked number 6 for me. He's unreliable.
He's a solid kicker. No, reliable is Phil Dawson. I said that already.
Well, okay, fair point. Yeah, I've got Gostowski kicks.
Janikowski's still kicking.
The last game I saw Adam
the Seabass retired.
The last game I saw Adam Vinatieri kick was not something special.
Yeah, I think he started showing
his age.
Yeah, showing his age last year a little bit.
If I have a stay away list, I'd stay away from him.
Yeah. I can't say I blame you. So those were kickers.
You didn't have any more stay aways?
No. Nah, I kind of did 2 for each at each position. So.
I'd stay away from that Minnesota kicker. He'll be hurt by like week 3, dude.
So where do you guys want to go next?
I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Pat picked last time. Nick, you can pick this one.
Let's do the tight ends.
Tight ends, all right.
Ooh, this is an interesting one.
Tight ends are interesting this year. To me, I think the race to be the top fantasy tight end kind of has narrowed in a way. Even though I still think probably Travis Kelce is outright number 1. But obviously with Gronk retiring, you got people I think that
ESPN says there's the big three for tight end.
There's different. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Ertz, Kelsey, and Kittle.
Yeah.
I don't like Kittle this year.
I'm not big on Ertz this year. For me, I have him ranked 7th.
Matthew Berry did put him on his hate list.
For me, it just depends which
not-
Carson Wentz
for-
shows up.
For me, overall,
weapons.
not to get too straight off of the tight ends, but we're going to see it eventually while we go through. I'm not big on the Eagles this year because I feel like there's going to be not tension. I think tension is the wrong word, but they saw the money. The players saw the money that Wentz got, and you kind of, especially in football, you get the idea that some guys may not go out and, give 100%, obviously. We've seen it especially big time the past couple of years. If they think they should be getting paid and they're not getting paid, why should they, instead of, going out 10 yards on a route and actually doing a cut, they just, kind of just lazily do it. Not like I said, I don't think tension's the right word, but I feel like there might be some of that in Philly this year. So that's why I kind of stayed away. I still have Ertz in my top 10, but I'm not big on Ertz this year.
Matthew Berry just said, the ESPN fantasy guy, said to stay away from Ertz because there's too many weapons on the team.
Well, that's the other thing, too. Wentz is going to have to distribute the ball. I mean, it's going to happen.
We'll see. You want me to get into my tight ends?
Yeah.
I think there is a big three, but there's also some others lurking in. I think you can't go wrong with Ertz. You're not a fan of Kittle. I am. And Travis Kelce, obviously. Mm-hmm. But there's a guy like Evan Ingram.
I like Ingram. He's going to get the majority of the targets this year.
There's some sleepers, maybe like an O.J. Howard.
Okay.
Or your boy Njoku.
David Njoku, Miami Hurricane tight end. I'm hoping he can do something this year.
Matthew Berry had him on his hate list.
Well,
Njoku.
yeah, I put him on the hate list too, and you got Odell and Jarvis out there.
But one guy I like, obviously, I like Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a stud, especially with Kareem Hunt gone. So he's going to be looking to throw a lot more.
That's interesting.
I like Travis Kelce. I'll just be the blatant guy and just say Travis Kelce.
Okay.
But guy to stay away from, obviously, Jimmy Graham. He's still on the Packers. I wouldn't touch him if he was clean like Brees. But I wouldn't touch him.
I actually like that. I like that. Props.
So, I don't know. You can't go wrong with the top tight end. Go for a tight end earlier than your others. If you see one tight end fall, if you don't know what you're doing that round, think about a tight end. Because if you're in a league that has a tight end position like we do, you want to have a top tight end because we've seen it over the last 5 years.
The Vernon Davis curse.
If you don't have a top tight end, that's one spot in our league, 9 spots in the starting lineup, where your other opponent is going to absolutely dominate you.
Yeah.
And you want to throw in a guy that gives you maybe 1 point.
Yeah.
When they got Kittel who could get a touchdown and get 9, that's 8 points you're losing right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you want to get a top tight end.
That's a position battle I've been struggling with recently.
Stay away from Graham. Go for Kelce. Go for him.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with staying away from Graham. I don't like him. Ever since he left Seattle, he just hasn't been the same.
Or New Orleans.
That too. But same thing with Ertz. Ertz and Kittle I'm just not too high on because I don't know how Garoppolo and Wentz are going to bounce back. Obviously, you saw Garoppolo last night. He's scared to take a hit right now, and I don't blame him. He just tore his ACL on a non-contact play, so I'd be terrified to take that hit too.
I'm not judging him after last night.
Neither am I, but we just have to see what he's like after. If he gets hit and he pops right back up, okay, I'm going to hop back with Kittle. Yeah. I think it depends how Garoppolo plays. I think Kittle will be the number 1 tight end when all is said and done, but it's going to be an extremely slow start for him.
But just think about that year Kittle had. Who was the quarterback last year? He still had a really good
Nick Mullins for part of it.
Kittle's good.
I have 2 sleeper tight ends, both out of the AFC East. One is going to be very biased. One's going to be extremely unbiased. The first one, kind of felt like he was going to have a decent rookie year last year. He didn't. Mike Gesicki for the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Fitzpatrick loves his tight ends. He had O.J. Howard, and who's the other tight end out in Tampa Bay?
I don't know.
Cameron Brate. Threw to both those guys a lot. He likes his tight ends. Gesicki's like 6'6". Throw it up to him in the red zone, he's going to bring it down. Also, who'd the Patriots just bring in? Whoever they brought in. Any tight end for the Patriots, take them. Take them. I don't care who their tight end is. Get them. Is it Bennett? I don't think it's Bennett.
No.
They didn't bring back Dwayne Allen.
I can't remember who it is.
Anyways, New England's tight end. I don't care who it is. That's another sleeper. So, we'll see how it all plays out, though. I don't know. I really like Gesicki for this year, though. I think he's going to be Miami's saving grace to keep them at like a 5-win team.
So, I got Kelsey, number 1 for me, obviously.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, Evan Ingram. I think he's going to have a...
Okay.
Pat, you say he's going to have a lot of the receptions coming his way.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep,
Benjamin Watson?
That's
a good one, too.
That's the New England one, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He is with New England. Benjamin Watson. If you think Drew Brees likes to target him in the red zone, where do you think Brady's going to go in the red zone? He's going to go straight to Benjamin Watson. Brady, I hate to say, I don't care what it says, he's the smartest man in football.
All right, back to ball.
So, yeah. But Benjamin Watson.
So, Evan Ingram, 2.
Yep, I got Kittel 3. I got O.J. Howard 4. And then number 5 for me, I got David Njoku. 6, I'll say 6. Hunter Henry for the Chargers I got.
If he stays healthy.
Coming off injury, that's the thing. A couple dark horses. I'll start with one that's probably, not the obvious one of the two in a way. Jarrell Everett, kind of stuck behind Higbee right now with the Rams.
I just like him.
But Everett's shown some signs that he can break out, so I think he's a decent bye week guy.
Super Bowl MVP, Jarrell Everett.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then my other dark horse, an AFC East guy for the Jets, and Chris Herndon.
I was going to say him for receiver because they bounce him back and forth.
They have him listed right now as a tight end exclusively on ESPN.
There goes another one of my sleepers. Chris Herndon, he is poised for a breakout.
He started off really slow last year's rookie year, but after week 6, he was the 9th highest scoring tight end in ESPN lobbies. So
where'd Chris Herndon go to school?
Clemson?
The U. The Miami boys, their tight ends are different.
A couple stay away guys to me, only because people always do this, and I know they're going to do this again. Jason Witten.
He's stupid to come back.
Well, no, it's the cowboy mindset complex on that.
No, I just mean he's stupid to come out of retirement.
Yeah. And this one hurts me a little bit, but it's the same thing year in and year out with him. ESPN has him ranked 13th, but Jordan Reed for the Redskins.
I thought you were going to say Vernon Davis.
I mean,
we could get the Vernon
Davis. I knew
Davis.
you were saying Jordan Reed.
No, he's hurt all the time. It's just it's painful because he's actually, if he stayed healthy, this guy would be a top 5 tight end.
But do you touch Jimmy Graham?
Do I touch Jimmy Graham? Probably not. I could see why you might if you're in a deeper league, but a league like ours, where we only got the 10 guys, I can't see it.
I mean, he's going to get drafted,
unless you want to carry a second tight end. If you want to carry a second tight end, I can see it.
A lot of us do keep it for those matchups.
I usually do, but, I mean, if I'm getting a second guy, I'd rather get a guy who can be more of a target in the red zone, sort of like a Jack Doyle.
There might be a league that's just tight ends.
Doyle's actually a very solid pick, too, if Luck is healthy.
I have Ebron above Doyle, though.
Doyle's a good sleeper, though, and if Luck is healthy.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because Ebron doesn't have the greatest health in the world either. I had Ebron last year in a PPR league.
I had Ebron for a little bit in our league.
He was like 4th, I want to say, in times for PPR scoring. That man gets touches. Mm-hmm. He had 3 touchdowns in like 4 plays at one point last year. It was unreal.
All right. So, I think that probably wraps up our tight end discussion.
Yeah, buddy. Go Gesicki.
Who? Nick pick. Pat, where do you want to go? We've done kickers. We've done tight ends. What position?
Let's do a fun one. Give us the quarterbacks.
Wow.
Give us the QBs.
All right, quarterbacks. This is by far, this is probably this was the toughest one, I think, for me to rank. Because... oh, man, you guys are going to blast me for my top 10, I feel like.
Probably.
Let's hear it.
Let's now. Yeah, you get to start this
You
one.
want me to go? I'll start at 10 and go up. for this one. The only reason why I'm ranked 10 to me, ESPN has him ranked, I think, like 19th or 20th. I am ranked 10 because he needs a big year. He has a big weapon again. I think the team as a whole needs a good year. I got Derek Carr at number 10. I think it's a little bit bold on all fronts, probably a little bit, but that's where I got 9. I got Baker Mayfield at number 9 for me. I love his versatility. I'm all in on them, but the same token, I think there's going to be probably a little bit of regression at the same time. 8, I got Mitchell Trubisky.
He's good.
At 7, I got probably the steady Eddie of the group. He's always in the discussion, Matt Ryan.
Oh, that's me, Dak.
Oh, not Dak. 6, I got Jared Goff. Number 5, I got one of my guys last year, Deshaun Watson. Number 4, I got another one of my guys from last year, Russell Wilson. 3, I got Tom Brady. Because I don't understand how every year ESPN ranks him like 15th in fantasy, and he ends up being...
Well, he doesn't put up that great of fantasy numbers when you think about it.
Well, true, but, you know, I crunched the numbers for his projections this year. He's looking at roughly about 16 fantasy points per game, which, sure...
In our league, that's not terrible.
On the lower end, but, you know... certainly
that's not terrible.
Certainly not 15th ranked in overall whatever ESPN.
Okay, anyways, keep going.
Number 2 for me. Now, this is where where you guys are going to shake your heads.
I already know what you're going to do with it.
Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes for me. All right?
Okay. I already know who number 1's going to be.
And number 1 for me is Drew Brees.
Okay.
That's where I go. And then my dark horses, Josh Allen for Buffalo. Got an arm. He's got legs. And a combo dark horse and stay away from me on this one, Eli Manning.
Jesus Christ.
Now, Eli is probably not outright starter material, but this guy gets hot. He's a nice guy to have on your bench. But at the same token, if he falls off fast, he's going to fall off fast at this point. We saw it last year a little bit. You know, it's a certainly understandable stay away at that token. My other stay away, Joe Flacco. I don't know what he's got anymore. I think Denver for him probably is going to be a bit of purgatory, in all honesty, because we know the way John Elway views his quarterbacks. You know, I kind of feel a little bit bad for him, but at the same token, you know, he made his bed and now he's got to lay in it. So, but like I said, Flacco's a bit in purgatory quarterback-wise in Denver, so I'd stay away from Flacco.
I'll go.
Okay. I was waiting to see if you were going to go, if you want me to go.
I just have one complaint about Paul's
One
top
complaint.
10.
Oh,
Fair
God.
enough.
I have a couple.
I'll say, I feel like Pat has like 5.
I've got a couple.
I have 2 compliments, though.
Okay.
My complaint, I'll just say it. How is Aaron Rodgers not in your top 10?
Yeah, really. Fantasy-wise? Come on.
So, my reason...
He's got some weapons on that team.
My reasoning is, and I don't want to give too much away, you can say he has weapons, and I understand, but they aren't wide receiver 1 wideouts on the team. To me,
Davante Adams?
I don't think he's a wideout 1.
Davante Adams is good.
I know. Wait. I know we talked about this before. I know DeAndre Hopkins. We were talking about. I just remembered in PPR, Davante Adams is the current number 1 receiver in fantasy. So what do you mean he's not a wide receiver 1?
I don't think he's a wide receiver 1.
Okay, back to the QB talk.
Now, what's a wide receiver 1? That's just
the main guy.
Is that like a top 10 receiver?
Yeah.
Davante Adams is going to be a late first, early second round pick for every league, unless you're just not paying attention.
To me, I think the issue we run into with Rodgers is his mindset right now.
I was just going to say health, but his mindset
is his health too, in my mind. But his mindset, you don't know where his head really is right now. He's happy one minute he's got a new coach. He's unhappy about the next. I don't think he's got true wide receiver 1s around him. I don't.
I mean, I'm not talking about the Packers. I'm just saying there could be a lot of games the Packers could be behind, and Rodgers gets
He's
a lot
gotta
of cheap
throw.
fantasy
Yeah.
points. And
That's fine, but
I don't think
understand.
I think the Packers are in trouble, but
I just it's not like I'm saying don't take Rodgers as a stay away guy either, but
that's all right.
Those are the guys I'd for sure put above him, at least on my list.
I'm going to compliment you now.
Okay.
I do like Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh,
I think he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's sleeper. Now I have a compliment and a half complaint. Really, I like that you didn't put Mahomes first because I actually agree.
Oh.
I think Deshaun Watson should be higher up in your list.
Wow.
I think Deshaun Watson
I love Deshaun too.
is very good. Mm-hmm. I think people should really jump on him. I'm not telling you guys to jump on him, but
I will. I had him last year. I loved him.
Just another couple notes. Stay away from Dak.
Yeah.
Especially if Elliott's not playing, stay away from Dak. That's just a Redskins and a Giants fan telling you to stay away. But I think if Andrew Luck gets healthy, I think you got a really good player there. But that's the question.
But that swayed my opinion on actually a lot of different things fantasy-wise thinking about this, right?
Because right now you can't guarantee the
yeah,
health of him.
that's the thing. Even tight ends, I think I might have put Ebron higher than 8 on my tight ends if we knew Luck was going to be healthy. And I feel bad because they have T.Y. ranked high again for ESPN, but another spoiler, I guess, on the board. I don't have T.Y. in my top 10.
He's boomer bust.
I agree with that.
He's boomer bust.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I wouldn't put him top 10. But one more note I'll say, my brother's not going to like this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
I think, not that he's not top 10, 4 is a little high.
Well, the thing I look at for fantasy for me anyway, especially like quarterbacks, I guess, like Watson, like Russell Wilson, even like Cam Newton still to a degree. These guys, they're multifaceted quarterbacks. They can run. They can get you yardage on a run. I think you got to take that into account now in a big way in fantasy because every 10 yards is a point. I mean,
yeah.
At least in fantasy for us, if you play the standard scoring, 25 yards for a throw is 1 point, or 25 collective yards on passing is a point. But it's still the same as a running back or a wide receiver for a rush. 10 yards is a point. To me, that's big. I mean, you look at Deshaun, what they project for him this year is collectively 612 rushing yards on the year is what ESPN projects him to be at.
Yes, he's really good.
I mean, that could be over a season. That's make or break style points if you're on the line.
But yeah, that's so true. But to finish up my point, I like Cam Newton, I do. But Russell Wilson, I think Doug Baldwin could be a huge loss.
It will be a huge loss.
I think so. But here's another sleeper for you, Jameis Winston.
Oh,
he's a don't touch. He's a don't touch.
I liked him.
He's a stay away.
I'm staying away from him.
Jameis is a stay away.
He was on my team a couple years ago. He was the only bright spot for that team. He was really good. He gets a lot of cheap points. I would say stay away from Matthew Stafford.
Really?
I don't know. I like Matthew. I really do like Matthew Stafford.
He was a borderline guy for me in my top 10.
I mean, they don't have Tate anymore, so that's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. Marvin Jones is good.
But he's
Galladay's good.
I mean, he slings it. They're going to end up passing the ball a lot this year.
But my final point, do not take a quarterback in the first round.
No.
First 2 rounds.
I could see end of the second.
If it's end of the second and you have a pick that, because in snake draft, when it just comes right back around, it's a little understandable.
Matthew Berry told me this stat, ESPN fantasy guy. Mm-hmm. The difference between Mahomes, who was a first-ranked quarterback, and Jameis Winston, who was 20, is 3.5 points. Sure, Jameis Winston puts up the same kind of numbers as Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. He potentially could. He could potentially put up 20 points like them.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting there like, wait, what?
He is. He is just as good as them. but there's only one QB spot, and there's 2 running back spots, and there's not that many running backs and receivers. So that's why you jump on them early instead of jumping on a Mahomes, who's not that big of a difference from a Jameis Winston, when there's so many options you can choose.
Right.
Sure, Mahomes is better, but it's not that big of a difference. That's why you don't draft a quarterback early. You draft running backs and receivers while you can, so you get top ones, and then you can get a quarterback, which won't be different from the other teams in your league. On the pad about quarterbacks.
All right. So kind of, actually, I just want to piggyback off that point real quick. That's one of those things where when you're in a 10-man league like us, let's say, Paul's top 10 list is really the first 10 quarterbacks to go. Having Derek Carr as your starter really isn't terrible. He's got Brown to throw to now.
No, that was why I put him up there.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, there's.
Does he have Brown?
He will. Brown's gonna play. I don't care what anyone says. He just likes making drama and stirring the pot. So Baker Mayfield.
They also might have Martavius Bryant, by the way.
It depends with him.
Baker.
So here's one of my complaints with Baker. The reason is, for me, when you said Eli is a dark horse stay away, for me that's Baker.
Oh.
The reason is...
I mean, that's understandable.
Well, here's why. I understand they got Nick Chubb. They're going to be running the ball a decent amount. But Baker is young. I love the fact that he speaks his mind, but he's hot-headed. He's going to make a lot of stupid decisions that are either going to result in a huge play or an interception. And when he's going to be slinging the ball 40, 45 times a game, 2 interceptions could be the difference between a win and a loss in our league. Even in PPR leagues, you never know what that 4 points is going to do. That's the only reason why I don't like him as a top 10 quarterback right now. I love Baker. He's one of my favorite young stars in the NFL.
Now you said you had something to say about Paul's list.
So that was part of it. Also, I think when all's said and done this year, I understand Baldwin's gone. Russell Wilson's going to be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy when all's said and done. He takes risks like Baker, but he takes the calculated risks. Okay, it's 1-on-1. My guy's got him beat. I can overthrow him deep, or I put it right on the money, but it's not getting picked off. Baker, we saw last year, threw into a double coverage that Jarvis Landry had to jump over a guy to catch, which he did, because Jarvis is phenomenal. I love Jarvis. I love him every year, and I don't know why, but Cam Newton is my sleeper. I love Cam. Part of it's because he's a big body. He's not afraid to take hits. He'll stay in the game when he's hurt. He'll play it out.
1-yard rushing touchdown.
He does, and that's huge. He's 6'6". He just snaps it. He's just got to reach over, and he's already in. It's not like Drew Brees, who's 6 feet tall in cleats, where he takes a snap, actually has to maneuver his way through, jump over it, possibly get stuffed. I like Cam as a sleeper. Drew Brees is number 1. Mahomes is number 2. I'm okay with. I don't like Brady when it comes to fantasy. He's going to get you 150 yards and 2 touchdowns the majority of the weeks, that's what he's going for. Not to say that's bad, but for fantasy, you're looking at, what'd that be, like 13 points? Not terrible, but not stellar. You're going to say something?
Yeah, I do have one more sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy to watch out for. Yes. Big Ben. Ben Roethlisberger.
That is true.
I've heard he throws the ball 75% of the game. He throws a lot.
Mm-hmm. Same thing, just based on sheer volume, he would be a sleeper. I'm not high on him. My opinion on Derek Carr is going to be if Brown actually decides to play or not. If Brown doesn't play, Derek Carr is a stay away. Fantasy-wise, I like Deshaun Watson. Actual football-wise, I hate. Sorry, I'm talking.
No. It's switch the screen.
Deshaun Watson. I'm going to say 2 stayaways that probably are going to be 2 of the first QBs taken. Garoppolo and Wentz. I don't want to touch him at the beginning of the year.
That's right, Wentz.
I don't want to touch either in the beginning of the year. And the only reason is Wentz is coming off of an ACL and his back. He takes one wrong hit right around like the rib cage, right around the waist. He could be done.
Do you touch Dak?
No. Not even if Zeke plays. Not even if Ezekiel Elliott plays do I take Dak Prescott, even as a third-string quarterback, if that's how deep your benches go.
What do you think of Mike Clay in the fantasy draft on ESPN taking Dak over Russell Wilson?
That's idiotic. That is so idiotic.
Rodgers?
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that should be in your top 10. I'm not sure about top 5 at the moment because his only true weapon right now to pass to is Davante Adams. Jimmy Graham might see a little increase because Randall Cobb isn't there anymore. I still don't like Jimmy Graham. I know we already talked about that. But Rodgers, also because he has the ability to run. He's not a phenomenal runner, but he has the ability to escape and get a few yards.
And are you buying... Sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'm not high on Rodgers, but he should be on your radar.
Now you buying Trubisky?
Yes, to a point. He's a guy I'll take, and with the certain matchups you plug him in, so like when they play Green Bay, he's a guy that needs to be starting no matter who your other quarterback is. Green Bay's defense, for lack of a better term, and not to have a little pun here, but it's Swiss cheese.
Now here's one guy we haven't mentioned. Darnold. Thoughts?
He's one of my sleepers as well.
Really?
He's a guy.
You trying to keep that off the show?
No, actually, it's a good thing you brought up Darnold because I wanted to talk about him. He's got Herndon. I'm not big on Robbie Anderson, but he's got Robbie Anderson. He's got Le'Veon Bell. They got another receiver out there. Oh, Quincy Enunwa. No, Josh said he's high on Quincy Enunwa. But when you look at it, it's one of those teams where kind of like the Giants. They can spread the ball out. Darnold's a better quarterback at the moment. No offense. But they're a team that can spread the ball to so many places. He's going to get Robbie Anderson one-on-one deep frequently. He's going to get Chris Herndon coming over the middle for a touchdown frequently. So I like Darnold as a sleeper.
Quickly, one more. Murray, Jones, Haskins, fantasy outlook for them this year.
We're talking about the rookies. Daniel Jones won't see the field till the end of the season. Haskins, we're going to see. Kyler Murray's going to start from day one. He's going to be a Baker Mayfield. He's going to need some time to get going and to pick it up. But by the end of the year...
And next year.
And next year. But by the end of this year, he's a guy that you can feasibly have as your backup and plug him in when they play, San Fran, who, with Bosa out, might not be as strong on defense. When they play a non-conference or a non-divisional opponent with a weaker defense. By the end of the year, he should be good enough to keep as a backup, but I kind of lean away at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So that's it for QBs.
All right.
Let's get a little bit of a move on.
Yeah. Let's do defense, get that out of the way with defense special teams.
Yep.
So, again, kind of like kickers, pretty straightforward, I think, for the most part. Not to say there's an art to this, but you do have to kind of figure out a little bit of a balance of, the units. Do you want the boom of one end or the other type of deal? I think the Bears are probably by far and away, at least on paper, probably the go-to number one this year. Obviously, they got Khalil, but, they got guys around them, Trevathan, Hicks, they're a scary group of guys. They get sacks, they get turnovers. Their special teams unit's fairly decent as well. I think they're number one. Looking at some others, I got the Vikings ranked number 2. Their defense last year, not to say they didn't impress, but it was a bit of a down year for what we expected out of them, I felt like. I think they can rebound this year. Pretty much were able to hold everyone for the most part. Kind of like the Bears. They were able to hold everyone for the most part, keep everyone from last year into this year. I got the Rams at 3. Again, big sack unit that they got. Turnover-wise, they need to pick up a little bit. But their special teams, I think, will help them out in the long run, too, there. So, you got that. Jacksonville... I got it 4, maybe not so much for their defense, but their special teams unit is really killer, especially D.D. Westbrook returns a lot for them, so that helps. I think a team to keep an eye on, I got them ranked 5. I've seen some people rank them as high as 3. The Bills, I think, got a really interesting dynamic. Their defense is going to be, I think, pretty good this year. Special teams-wise, I don't know what to kind of expect out of them. So that might be a question mark where you want to look at it. Dark horse, the Browns and the Redskins, they're kind of similar. I think they'll do a really good job up front, but you need better turnover, stuff going on in your backfield. or backfield, down deep downfield. My stayaways, the Raiders, obviously, I feel that's pretty much an obvious one there. But ESPN has them as a top 10 defense. I think I'm going to stay away from the Patriots defense this year. They don't really, I guess, hawk the ball. They don't get a lot of turnovers. They could get enough sacks to carry them, but I just don't know if that will happen. So,
I have not. I know our draft's on Monday, but defense I have not really studied yet. Mm-hmm. But it seems like every year the defense that there's one team that we think is going to be good and doesn't. That was the Vikings last year, and there's this one team that surprises people. I think the team that's not going to do good, maybe the Bears. Might be the Bears. Who knows? And the team I think I disagree with Paul. I've heard is a sleeper. I think this might be the best Patriots defense we've seen in quite some time.
The Patriots defense, they're always a team you got to consider. They're just so disciplined on
maybe
defense.
Belichick, a defensive coach, will finally have that elite defense. But he still gets it in the playoffs, so that's all that matters.
Right.
Pat, I'm going to lead you into what do you think of this defense you like? The Jaguars. You like them?
They carried my team 2 years ago.
They sure did.
They're a major reason why I actually ended up making it to the playoffs 2 years ago.
Everyone was taking them early.
And
they were another disappointment last year.
In back-to-back weeks, they put up a 20 and a 25 for me, which essentially propelled me into the playoffs that year. My only concern with them this year is Jalen Ramsey's mouth. Because he started going off last year, people started attacking that defense, and at most games they folded. So how his mouth and how their mental toughness is going to determine how their defense does. One team that you guys haven't mentioned yet that I think is going to be the best defense in football this year. The no-fly zone of the Denver Broncos. Oh, God, no. The no-fly zone of the Denver Broncos. They're going to have the best defense in football this year. I had them last year. I didn't play them. I actually let them go for a game, and they had 2 pick sixes in the first quarter. That one was an upsetting one. They got a good team.
Do you remember who you started that day?
No, I don't. Do you?
No.
Okay. I remember I still got like 11 or 12 points on my defense that week, so it wasn't terrible, but the Broncos posted like a 30-point game that week.
And you
lose? I still won, so it wasn't me.
Oh, you played Jarrell?
Probably.
That's good.
So I like Denver. I really don't have a sleeper. I would stay away from Miami, though. They lost Cameron Wake. They lost their sack guy. Olivier Vernon's been gone for a couple of years. They really don't have that many guys that are going to be coming to get sacks. The only real they have 2 threats in the secondary. It's Xavier Howard and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Knowing there's only 2 out of 4 or 5 guys in your secondary, it's a threat. They're going to avoid them at all costs. Xavier Howard came onto the scene, picked off Brady twice on Monday Night Football 2 years ago. Ever since then, he's essentially been a lockdown corner for Miami. Him and Minkah are the bright spots of that defense, but you can't rely on 1 interception a game to help you out.
All right.
So Dolphins, definitely a stay away. Raiders are a stay away. Packers are a stay away. Do not touch Green Bay at all. So, yeah, there's my defensive rundown.
All right.
Got 2 left, right?
Yeah.
2 left.
And we need to get a move on with this as well.
And these are the 2 biggest positions.
Yeah, I'd say so. Let's do, what do you think, Nick?
Receiver.
All right.
Yeah.
Wide receiver core it is. I'm called. It's a little bit of a Wild West type deal this year.
I mean, I don't blame us talking about quarterback because you could draft any of those quarterbacks that we mentioned.
It's really not going to
I think
matter.
for receivers, receivers this year, a lot of gunslinging type guys. Fast. They get a lot of chunks, a lot of yards.
Here's the other thing to keep in mind. Try to get yourself that quarterback receiver or quarterback tight end combo.
Oh, that's a fact.
Try to get that combo. That'd be huge. So am I taking over for receivers now? Okay. I just wanted to add that as a special note.
You started talking. So
I just wanted to add that as a special note real quick, but okay. Receivers, I know that I brought up Herndon earlier. He's a sleeper. I love him. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Part of me really loves Odell and Jarvis, the both of them. Yeah, you got your DeAndre Hopkins, you got your Davante Adams, you got your Antonio Brown if he ends up playing, which he probably will. Who else we got out there? Juju. I think Juju is poised for a terrible year. I'd stay away from Juju. They're going to be double coveraging him. Sleeper, James Washington for Pittsburgh. Also, I know I talked about Kyler Murray earlier. I really like Christian Kirk. That being said, if you're in a PPR league, don't be afraid to go Larry Fitzgerald. He doesn't drop the ball. He'll get you probably 5 or 6 catches a game. That's 5 or 6 easy points. Any other big receivers I missed? I don't know. AJ Green, don't take him. He's always injured. He's also got to stay away from. I think Tyler Lockett's going to have a down year for Seattle. I don't know. Nick, you got anything?
Well, if you want PPR, big threats, obviously there's Hopkins, there's whatever. But
Odell and Jarvis.
Michael Thomas, man.
Yeah, Thomas. I forgot
would
about Thomas.
Get you 10 catches a game, plus the 150 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns or so. But if you just want straight out PPR guys, beasts, Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm. He's a very good possession.
Adam Thielen. Cooper Kupp.
I like Robert Woods more for the PPR aspect of that team.
Keenan Allen.
He's very good.
He's a PPR stud. He catches a lot of passes. Rivers seems to go. That's another quarterback we didn't mention.
Oh, yeah.
Phillip Rivers. I mean, not to back on quarterbacks, but
all right,
he's a sleeper too.
He is.
Keenan Allen, because of Hunter Henry too.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get back on tight ends, but
and because Melvin Gordon's going to be
Allen.
gone,
I say I'm a big. You probably agree with me. I'm a big Michael Thomas fan.
I love Michael Thomas. He led me to a title last year in one of my other
Odell was nice knowing that he has Jarvis on his side because it won't be double covered all the time. Juju, hit or miss.
I don't like Juju this year.
Juju, you can think he might not be nothing without Brown, but if maybe he comes on the scene, becomes a star. Who knows?
That one's going to be tough. With Brown gone, the defense is going to treat him like they treated Brown, just double coverage.
I like Odell. Gets hurt a lot. I'd be nervous about that. Be nervous about these receivers that get hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A sleeper receiver. I'm going to be biased. Sterling Shepard. If Daniel Jones becomes the guy. That is a sleeper. I need 2 sleepers to happen.
Is that a deep sleeper?
That is a deep sleeper.
Deep sleeper Sterling Shepard.
He could be stud, but Daniel Jones is the man.
Mm-hmm. What are you writing over there?
Off the ball.
kind of doodling.
Paul, receivers.
Okay.
Then
Let's
we
hear
get
yours.
going on.
To me, DeAndre Hopkins, number 1. I got Michael Thomas 2, though, at that point. So
you might that Watson, DeAndre Hopkins.
Julio Jones have at 3.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention Julio.
Julio Jones is if things go right as projected, he could have
camera back on me.
A historic year this year.
First of all, who did you say it was 2?
Michael Thomas.
Oh yeah, back on me.
It's been on you.
Listen, fantasy guys. Listen, fantasy guys. Julio's never had a double-digit touchdown season.
That is true.
That's all you need to know. Never had one. Back to you, Paul.
Okay. My finishing out my top 5, Odell at 4, and I have Amari Cooper at 5 for me.
Boo.
I don't like him for this year.
You can boo. A couple dark horses. Pat doesn't like him, but I do. Robbie Anderson, I think, is a decent dark horse. Another dark horse. He needs to stay healthy though. Will Fuller, the 5th for Houston.
He's
needs to stay healthy though.
Gallup with the Cowboys.
I was gonna say that kind of goes like to the T.Y. Hilton point though.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take T.Y. Hilton unless like he's sitting there in the very last round and you're like, okay, I can snag him from the bench or whatever. Because he's either getting like 3 or 4 catches for 80+ yards and 2 touchdowns, or he's not even getting targeted.
And stay away from Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's Nick's man.
5 years wrong, but definitely stay away from him.
So my stayaways,
Mike Williams,
Green Bay wide receiving corps. That's like I said. I explained that. I explained it already. For me, also, guys, stay away from. I still think he's like a top 20 wide receiver only because of his volume that he really gets. But I'm not high on the situation that he's got. Mike Evans for Tampa Bay. I just don't think Jameis really not that he doesn't have it, but I mean,
Mike Evans is another guy with a big body though. That if Jameis just tosses it up to him, it's not getting picked off if it's being thrown his direction. It's either on his hands or incomplete.
Yeah,
that's the one plus side to getting Mike Evans.
So That leaves us with one position to go.
The most important one for at least ours.
Yeah. Running backs. Saquon. Is Saquon the consensus overall number one pick this year? I think yes, at least in our league for sure. That being said, this is a running dominant, I think, opening round draft this year for probably most leagues. At least that do, the standard stuff. After Saquon, for me, a lot of people are saying Christian McCaffrey should be number 2. I think number 2 should be Alvin Kamara. He does a lot, obviously running, but he also catches. He does have a little bit more of a workload, though, with Ingram moving to Baltimore. So,
yeah, but
my thing on running backs is not to get too in depth on it. You got Kamara, I like him. You got Barkley, and you got McCaffrey. The reason they're the tops, honestly, there's a lot of good running backs out there. Mm-hmm. But those are the ones to be safe. That's like the safe pick. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you got Gurley. You got Bell. You got David Johnson. You got Ezekiel. These are some good receivers, but there's so many questions.
In fact, you didn't say Joe Mixon's a little bit disappointing.
Joe Mixon this year. But these are some good running backs that have been good for years. Mm-hmm. But they have so many questions about injuries, whether or not he's going to play, whether his line is good. Mm-hmm. They're good. They could be just as good as those other three. It's just there's so many questions surrounding them. Handcuffs are important.
What?
Handcuffs. When you take the guy's
guy's back up. That is definitely key, and that's all I really got to say. Saquon is the best. That's all I got to say. And one sleeper running back that I will say is that Montgomery for the Bears.
David Montgomery.
Yes. All right. Obviously, Saquon, Kamara, McCaffrey will be the top 3 picks. I think McCaffrey will go 2. I love Melvin Gordon, but he's 100%.
Oh, that's another one.
He's 100% not showing up this year.
He's another question.
Unless he gets his extension. So if he doesn't get paid, that's a waste of a pick right there. If he doesn't get paid before your draft, that's a waste of a pick.
JJ?
He's a free agent right now. He's not on a team.
Boys,
I don't take him in the second round?
Boys, I don't want to get too off topic here, but we have a question that came in.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Live comment feed.
Yes.
From, I want to pronounce her name right, Aman. He's been offered a trade of Kamara and Tyler Boyd for Davante Adams and Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson's a sleeper too.
Now, I'm guessing, if I'm reading it right, you have Davante Adams and Kerryon Johnson. Nick, would you say that as well? I'm assuming. So, personally,
Paul's doing that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, if I'm you, I'm saying if I'm you, I'm saying yes. I'm pulling the
listen, Aman.
I'm pulling the trigger on that one.
Aman.
I'm not big. It's not that I'm not big on Kerryon Johnson either. Detroit's in a very rough spot, I think, right now.
Listen, Aman.
So,
Aman, listen to me. Davante Adams is way better than Tyler Boyd than Kamara is over Kerryon Johnson. You keep that trade. You don't make that trade.
I'm
you
going
keep
with Nick on
this. Kerryon Johnson and Davante Adams.
Yes.
But how can you just go through these comments? We have Josh Landry making fun of Joe Flacco is not a kicker
because they didn't ask questions. Really,
Sam Darnold.
We talked about Sam Darnold.
Flacco is a kicker. It was a mistake. Flacco is not a kicker. This is Josh and Matt from our previous shows making fun of him.
But yeah, so Amon, if you look at the democratic process, I guess the show as a whole is telling you no. But I pulled the trigger. I'm pulling the trigger.
All right. Who's talking about running backs? Pat?
I think it was over on me. I don't know. So who did you say your sleeper was? Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
I like Josh Jacobs.
You took my one.
I would say just based on volume. He's going to get a lot of touches for Oakland. So based on volume, that's why I like him. This is going to be kind of biased. I love Kenyon Drake this year. He kind of started to come out of his shell last year. This year, he's poised for something. I don't know what. He was the guy that scored the touchdown for the Miami Miracle against New England last year. New England, you still can't beat us in Miami. You can try, but you ain't going to do it. I love Kenyon Drake this year. Did you mention David Johnson when you talking about the running backs? Always Gary? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Question marks?
Matt, I prefer the word blasphemous.
Oh, God. I know Sony Michel has been talked about a lot as a bust for this year. I think he's going to do better than they did last year. I like Sony Michel.
All right. Okay.
He's another guy that if he's sitting there late in a round, you need a backup, you need a flex, take him. If he's sitting there, pick him right up. And a big one, I know we argue about him a lot, especially over a controversial trade, Duke Johnson. My boy's down in Houston. He's gonna be behind Lamar.
I understand that. I like that sleeper.
That's a good handcuff you can take with Lamar Miller and then Duke Johnson, because Lamar's gonna be getting all the runs while Duke Johnson's coming in on passing downs.
A Duke Johnson, Jonathan Stewart trade.
The infamous Jerry one trade.
So Pat said one of my sleepers in Josh Jacobs for Oakland. My other one, also kind of biased, I guess, but it depends more how it plays out with Adrian Peterson, I guess. But Darius Geis for the Redskins could be an interesting play. But like I said, depends, I think, a lot of what they have planned. They haven't said too much yet. My stay away are in my mind, you have to go with Ezekiel Elliott and Melvin Gordon are stay aways. You look at the situation last year.
How long stay away? Not stay away the whole draft, obviously.
If you come up in I guess it depends first off how many roster spots you have in your league. So I guess a safe number, at least median-wise, I think for everyone would probably be the 12th or 13th round. That's where I feel comfortable, only because you look at the situation that Bell was in, not just last year, but even the year before where he held out. Last year he pulled the trigger. He's the first player to ever sit out, and it's proof that you can do it. Mind you, he didn't get paid as much as he thought he would, but
what a steal!
I do like
but still though, the players now have knowledge that you can sit out and get what you want. So,
yep.
I personally I wouldn't draft him. Period. I don't think that's just the way I draft. But even I think I'd have to consider if it comes around late enough in the draft and you have Melvin Gordon or Zeke just sitting there, I'd pull the trigger probably. I mean, worst case scenario is you drop them week 3 or 4 when you can tell they're just not going to come back. You know what I mean? So,
all right,
yeah.
It was a good show.
That was solid.
Show. You were nervous about getting 40 minutes. We got the longest show ever.
Yeah. First of 3 consecutive football shows for you guys across all different facets. We appreciate, Pat, you coming on as always.
Thank you for having me again.
Do you have a fun fact today? You got nothing?
I don't know if I had one prepared.
That's okay if you don't.
I actually did have one. I can't remember what was that one at the beginning of the show that I thought of.
You have not won a championship in 8 years.
That's what it was. Fun fact. We talked about the Jerry One League they're in. 2011 inaugural champ for the Jerry One League. You're looking at him right now. Fun fact, Paul's won 3 of them. 4 of your 8 titles are sitting in this room.
It's a fact, Jack.
Nick's brother Matt's got 2 of them. Swing it to Nick.
Nick, who are you shouting out?
I just want to say, Paul, you are getting ripped on here about Davante
Adams take. I mean, it's understandable.
Our draft is next Monday.
That's just the way it's understandable. I get it. I accept it. That's just the way I feel, though. And we
will come back and tell you that Paul did not draft Davante Adams.
I'm not going to.
And
unless it's like the 10th round and he's there.
Sam Darnold will be a good quarterback. And Amon, keep your team. And,
I want to know who's already drafted like that.
And Matt, Davante Adams is top 5. But, just want to say good luck in the draft.
Thank you.
Everyone, Josh, Fletch, Jaron, Andrew.
What a shout out.
Everyone. But my shout out today, I will be leaving. I will only work one more day this week because I'm going to Vermont for my buddy's wedding in Vermont. Buddy from college, Nate Severance. First time I ever shouted him out. Shout out, Nate. He's getting married.
Congratulations,
He's in the Coast Guard.
Nate.
Congratulations,
Congrats,
Nate. I
dude.
know I met you a couple times.
Congrats. Thank you for your service.
He's a Red Sox fan, so be easy on him.
Never mind.
I'm just saying congrats on his marriage. Congrats on third place in the division, though.
Yeah, congrats on your team being a freaking fallacy.
Well,
All right.
shout out Nate.
Congrats
Good
on
luck.
the marriage. Thank you. Good luck to you guys as well.
Thank you.
Good luck to all of our viewers
Thank
out there that
you.
are having drafts coming up.
Oh, I clicked
And
the wrong.
we are
I clicked the wrong off the bat, but we're
We're
gone.
out.
Catch us next time on the Fresh Takes Podcast.